Hello and welcome back to another Parry This alternate history video. Today we are finally tackling a much requested topic, that being the Battle of Thermopylae. Oftentimes referred to as the last stand of the 300 Spartans, at least in popular culture, this battle is one of the most well-known battles of ancient times, and holds a special place in the hearts and minds of much of Western civilization. Today we are going to go over the hypothetical scenario of a modern-day United States Marine Corps machine gun squad being sent back in time to aid the Greeks in holding the line against the Persian army. I will try to make this scenario interesting, but keep in mind, the reason I try to make these videos somewhat closer in time than a 2,500 year time difference will become clear once we get to the scenario. But for now, let's cover the historical facts first, just in case you aren't familiar with the history of this battle. Oh, and if this is the first time that you found my channel, I recommend subscribing and checking out the other videos in this series, as if you enjoy this one, you'll likely find a similar interest in the rest of them. Section 1. The Battle of Thermopylae. The Battle of Thermopylae, fought in 480 BC, remains one of the most significant military engagements in ancient history, symbolizing heroic resistance in the face of formidable invasion. This pivotal conflict occurred during the Second Persian invasion of Greece and featured two distinctly different military cultures in direct confrontation. The belligerents of this battle. The Greek side was a coalition of city-states, prominently led by King Leonidas I and his contingent of Spartan warriors, alongside soldiers from Athens, Corinth, Thessaly, Thebes, and several other city-states. Opposing them was the Persian Empire, a vast and multicultural entity stretching across much of the known world, led by King Xerxes I. Historical accounts, particularly those by Herodotus, suggest that the Greeks stood approximately 7,000 strong at the onset of the battle. This force was significantly outnumbered by the Persians, who, as Herodotus claims, numbered in the millions. However, contemporary scholars find these figures inflated, estimating the more realistic total to be around 1 to 300,000 men. The engagement at Thermopylae was part of Xerxes' ambitious campaign to conquer Greece, partially motivated by a desire to expand his empire and partly to avenge the Persians' defeat at Marathon during the First Persian invasion. The battlefield was a coastal pass at Thermopylae, known as the Hot Gates, a strategic choke point chosen by the Greeks. The narrow terrain nullified the Persians' advantage in numbers, forcing them to engage the Greek defenders in close quarter. The Greek forces, primarily composed of hoplites, were heavily armored infantrymen equipped with helmets, breastplates, greaves, large round shields, long spears, otherwise known as dori, and short swords, otherwise known as the xiphos. They employed the phalanx formation, a close-rank, dense grouping of warriors arrayed with overlapping shields and projecting spears, offering substantial defensive strength, particularly in narrow terrains like Thermopylae. In contrast, the Persian army was more diverse, including lightly armored infantry with wicker shields, short spears and bows, and the famous Immortals, an elite heavy infantry unit. They also utilized cavalry, something the Greek forces lacked. Despite their numbers and variety, the Persians' typical tactics and weaponry were largely ineffective in this confined pass. Despite valiant Greek defense, a local resident named Ephialtes betrayed them, revealing a mountain path that allowed the Persians to outflank and overcome the defenders. Recognizing the dire situation, Leonidas released most of his troops and remained to guard their retreat with approximately 1,000 soldiers, including his 300 Spartans, all of whom were killed. Ancient sources suggest that the Greeks inflicted thousands of casualties on the Persians, whose exact numbers remain uncertain, but are believed to be significantly higher than the Greek losses. The battle concluded with a tactical victory for the Persian Empire, allowing them to advance into Boeotia and Attica, leading to the subsequent burning of Athens. However, the Greeks' strategic objective to delay the Persians was achieved, buying valuable time for the preparation of a more definitive naval engagement at Salamis. The stand at Thermopylae had profound long-term effects. Politically and socially, the battle helped to galvanize Greek unity and fueled determination for subsequent victories against the Persians. The Spartans' sacrifice became legendary, shaping Greek cultural identity and the concept of heroism, bravery, and sacrifice in Western civilization. Strategically, it contributed to a series of defensive alliances and tactical evolutions that would eventually lead to the Greek victory in the Greco-Persian Wars, preserving the independent development of the city-states and allowing the continued flourishment of ancient Greek culture, which would later significantly influence the Roman Empire and, by extension, modern Western civilization. In summation, the Battle of Thermopylae serves as a monumental episode in military history, underlying not only the tactical and strategic nuances of ancient warfare, but also the far-reaching implications of courage, strategy, and the indomitable human spirit in the chronicles of civilization. Section 2. A modern United States Marine Corps machine gun squad. A contemporary United States Marine Corps machine gun squad is a highly specialized component within the Marine infantry, meticulously trained and equipped for suppressive fire roles. This unit's integration in ancient combat scenarios introduces profoundly advanced elements of warfare never before seen in that era. Here we dissect the composition, armament, and potential battlefield impact of this modern entity. For composition and basic loadout, a standard Marine machine gun squad consists of approximately 7 to 9 personnel, depending on the specific organizational structure. This squad is typically divided into 3 teams: the gun team, the assistant gun team, and the ammunition team, each meticulously orchestrated to support the weapon's operation during intense combat scenarios. For armament, the squad's primary weapon is the M240B medium machine gun, a belt-fed, air-cooled, gas-operated automatic weapon known for its reliability, versatility, and deadly efficiency. It fires the standard 7.62 by 51mm NATO cartridge, capable of engaging targets out to 800 meters with area target accuracy and 1800 meters with point target accuracy. As for rate of fire, the M240B boasts a sustained fire rate of around 100 rounds per minute, a rapid fire rate of around 200 rounds per minute, and a cyclic fire rate reaching between 650 to 950 rounds per minute. Such a rate of fire could lay down a devastating and continuous hail of bullets, an alien concept on the ancient battlefield. For ammunition, an expeditionary assignment, each Marine might carry between 600 and 800 rounds, divided into 100 or 200 round belts, with additional ammo potentially carried by the ammunition team. Collectively, the squad could be responsible for several thousand rounds, ensuring their capability for sustained fire in an engagement before needing resupply. As far as additional equipment for the machine gun squad goes, beyond the machine gun, squad members would carry personal sidearms like the M18 pistol, combat knives, first aid kits, and possibly handheld radios for communication. They'd also be equipped with modern body armor, helmets, and possibly night vision devices, offering protection and capabilities far beyond those of ancient warriors. And regarding battlefield lethality, the M240B's accuracy and the ability to deliver continuous, high-volume fire makes it a particularly lethal asset against massed infantry formations. In the context of ancient warfare, where tight formations, like the phalanx, were common, the machine gun's lethality would be exponentially enhanced, as the weapon would exploit the compact target presented by such formations. Its range would extend far beyond the engagement distance of any ancient weapon, allowing the squad to neutralize threats long before they posed any danger to the unit. Section 3. The scenario. The introduction of a U.S. Marine Corps machine gun squad to the historic Battle of Thermopylae would irrevocably alter the dynamics, strategies, and outcomes of this legendary engagement. In this speculative scenario, we envision the fusion of modern firepower with ancient heroism, crafting a dramatically different narrative from the one penned by history. Upon their hypothetical arrival, the modern Marine squad would likely be positioned behind the Greek phalanx, a formation known for its frontal defensive strength. The squad's machine guns would need clear lines of fire, making the flanks or slightly elevated positions behind the Greek infantry the most strategic options. This positioning allows them to engage the approaching Persian force with devastating efficiency while minimizing the risk of the Greeks from potential stray bullets. As the Persians advance, they would be met with a style of warfare never before seen in ancient times. The first bursts of automatic fire would be both chaotic and catastrophic. The range of the M240B, far surpassing any ancient armament, would allow the Marines to engage the enemy at distances well beyond retaliation. Persian soldiers, known for their courage and battle prowess, would be subjected to an unimaginably horrifying scenario. The rapid rate of fire and lethal precision of modern weaponry would create an immediate and disorienting one-sided casualty rate. Entire ranks of Persians would be mowed down before comprehending the nature of the threat that they faced. The psychological impact cannot be overstated. The Persians would not be facing a recognizable enemy, but what they might perceive as otherworldly wrath or divine intervention, given their lack of context for automatic weaponry. This terror, coupled with seeing their comrades cut down in swaths, would sow chaos in the Persian ranks, likely leading to a rout before the Marines even exhausted their ammunition. The Persians, potentially suffering thousands of casualties within the first hours of the engagement, would stand little chance against the combined Greek defenses and the Marines' firepower. It It is conceivable that the sheer shock and awe of the machine gun's might would drive the Persian army into full retreat, deeming the conquest too cursed or ill-fated to continue. Greek casualties would be minimal, particularly with their warriors mostly shielded behind the phalanx formation. In contrast, Persian losses would be exponentially higher than in the original battle, likely ranging in the tens of thousands, including many of their famed immortals, and possibly even Persian command structures if they were present on the front lines. The annihilation of the Persian forces at Thermopylae under these conditions would have profound ripple effects throughout history. With Greece facing significantly reduced military pressure, city-states like Athens would experience less destruction, potentially altering their cultural and political trajectory. The concept of Western democracy and philosophical traditions born in these regions might take different developmental paths. The stunning defeat would likely weaken Xerxes' standing within the Persian Empire, potentially hastening its decline or inviting internal strife and power struggles, thereby changing the dynamics of power in the ancient world. Further, the mysterious and divine power possessed by the Greeks in this battle would carve itself into the annals of history, potentially altering religious and cultural beliefs throughout the entire region. On a grander scale, this single event could pivot the direction of cultural, philosophical, and possibly technological developments in global history, with the Greeks not only surviving, but possibly expanding and solidifying their influence after such a decisive victory. The foundational elements of Western civilization might emerge stronger and more profound in global historical developments. In conclusion, this scenario, though entirely hypothetical, underscores the monumental shifts that could result from anachronistic interventions. The Marine Corps machine gun squad, small in number but vast in impact, represents a radical force of change in this ancient setting, demonstrating that the threads of history are finely interwoven, subject to dramatic restructuring with even the slightest, albeit significant, alteration. Section 4. Why speculation of modern technology against ancient troops is mostly meaningless. Speculating about the impact of modern weaponry in ancient battles, while an entertaining thought experiment, delves into the realm of hypotheticals that detracts from the complex realities of historical warfare. Introducing firearms or any facet of advanced technology into a pre-gunpowder era doesn't just upset the balance of a specific battle, it shatters the entire framework of understanding, strategy, and combat psychology of the period. One pivotal reason this kind of speculation reaches realms of absurdity in its sheer power discrepancy it introduces, ancient armies structured around shield, spear, and archery units would find themselves not just outmaneuvered, but entirely outclassed in every aspect. It's not merely a matter of superior weaponry, but a fundamental disruption of the era's understanding of what warfare entails. Gunpowder, the propellant behind the deadly effectiveness of firearms, represents a quantum leap in military technology. In the hands of a skilled modern unit, firearms ensure an engagement range, lethality, and rate of fire unimaginable and wholly uncounterable by ancient standards. This isn't just an uphill battle for ancient soldiers, it's akin to bringing knives to a drone fight. The superstitious mindset of ancient warriors plays a crucial role in this discussion. To these individuals, a thunderous, rapid death-dealing force with no visible mechanism of action would not register as weaponry, but as divine or demonic forces. The Persians at Thermopylae, or any ancient soldiers, would perceive machine guns as an apocalyptic supernatural phenomenon far removed from the realm of human warfare. This psychological impact extends far beyond fear. The cultural, religious, and societal constructs of the time would provide no framework to rationalize a technological force of this magnitude. The consequent demoralization, terror, and sheer awe would undermine any semblance of traditional warfare, likely leading to immediate routs, mass surrenders, or panicked, uncoordinated responses. To draw a parallel with modern sensibilities, one might imagine the current military's reaction if confronted with a force wielding weaponry as advanced compared to ours as ours is to ancient times. Consider facing adversaries who manipulate gravity, time, or even the fabric of reality itself. Weapons that can neutralize arsenals silently, turn battlegrounds into labyrinthine nightmares, or erase units from existence with a simple thought. Today's most elite soldiers would find themselves as disoriented and powerless as ancient warriors facing a machine gun. Our comprehension would fail, strategies would crumble, and the same terror that gripped the hearts of ancients would take hold. It wouldn't be a military contest, but a slaughter, underscored by the incomprehensible nature of the threat. This analogy serves to highlight the levels of absurdity in such uneven matchups. In essence, while these scenarios provide thrilling speculative fiction, they offer little substantive insight into historical conflicts, military strategy, or technological development. They underscore an incontrovertible force disparity and illuminate the human aspect of warfare, the universal vulnerability to fear, the awe in the face of the inexplicable, and the profound disorientation born of facing something utterly outside our capacity to understand or counter. And that is that. I hope you enjoyed this video, as it is always fun to speculate on such wild and outlandish things. However, I also hope you understand why I was so hesitant to even make this video, and why I won't be doing it again. It is interesting to speculate on technological advancements that don't belong in the period being present on the battlefield. However, there is a line that once crossed makes speculation meaningless. An American Indian in the year 1700 facing a modern AR-15 on the battlefield would be devastating in effect, but not psychologically. Being exposed to firearms already, the concept would exist. Yes, the AR-15 has greater range, accuracy, and a rate of fire, but in essence, it's the same as a musket. Introducing modern technology to cultures that haven't even figured out the complexities of manufacturing steel weaponry would be a complete shutdown of their morale, instilling unimaginable fear of the unknown into anyone facing the deadly onslaught. They would not march into the breach, they would not stand and fight, they would not try to improvise, adapt, and overcome. The first wave would be utterly devastated, and the second wave would be facing the other way in an uncontrollable rout, and there would never be a third wave. But that's all for today. We'll see you on the next battlefield.